This is former Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic presidential nominee. Recently, he appeared on CNN and was interviewed by Jake Tapper. During that interview, Biden was asked about NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement.
Something else he did is he renegotiated NAFTA.
He did.
He renegotiated NAFTA. Now, when you ran for president and when Barack Obama ran for president, you both said you would renegotiate NAFTA. You didn't. He did.
And that's correct. President Trump was not only able to renegotiate with Canada and Mexico, but was also able to get it ratified right here in the United States with bipartisan support in Congress, which is a miracle in its own right.
Nancy Pelosi said that the USMCA, which President Trump signed into law, is a, quote, victory for America's workers. Does he deserve credit for that?
No, I think, remember, he wasn't the one that pushed that particular one that passed. The House amended the bill, so he couldn't.
He signed it.
Yep, Trump did sign it. And sure, it didn't have every single thing that he wanted, but that's okay, because that's what happens when you negotiate, something that Obama didn't even attempt to do. You see, during the 2008 presidential campaign, both Barack Obama and Joe Biden spoke about the importance of renegotiating NAFTA.
I would immediately call the President of Mexico, the President of Canada, to try to amend NAFTA, because I think that we can get labor agreements in that agreement right now.
Hey, look, a president's job is to create jobs, not to export jobs. And the idea that we are not willing to take the Prime Minister of Canada and the President of Mexico to the mat to make this agreement work is just a lack of presidential leadership. I would lead, I would do that, I would change it.
But after they were elected, they didn't even attempt to start renegotiations. Biden and Obama were all talk, no action. Unlike President Trump.
He renegotiated NAFTA and you didn't, is the point. I mean,
because we had a Republican Congress that wouldn't go along with us renegotiating it.
That's a load of BS. During President Obama's first 2 years, Democrats controlled the House and the Senate. And during that time, Obama was able to push through the Affordable Care Act through Congress, despite the fact that every single Republican in Congress was against it. So, according to Joe Biden, Republicans would have totally stopped them from renegotiating NAFTA, even though Republicans couldn't stop Obamacare.
Because we had a Republican Congress that wouldn't go along with us renegotiating.
So by now you know that Joe Biden is full of it. But here's some more proof. President Trump was able to get the USMCA through Congress with bipartisan support. Again, Trump did what Obama and Biden couldn't be bothered to do. And even with the Democrats' demands, the USMCA is hands down a better trade agreement.
There is no question, of course, that this trade agreement is much better than NAFTA.
but doesn't he deserve some credit for that? It's better. The USMCA is better than NAFTA.
It is better than NAFTA.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. So Joe Biden doesn't want to talk about policy that makes him look bad and Trump look more favorable. Instead, he'd rather bitch about things that make Trump look bad, things that ultimately don't matter.
This is the guy who said maybe the way to deal with hurricanes is drop a nuclear bomb on them. I mean, seriously, he said it.
I know.
I mean, God.
Okay, so according to an August 2019 scoop in Axios, unnamed sources claim that President Trump suggested nuking hurricanes to stop them from hitting the United States. These sources also claim that it was recorded on a National Security Council memorandum. No one in the public has actually seen this memorandum, but unnamed sources say that it's there, so, I mean, why would they lie? With that said, I tend not to trust stories confirmed by the accounts of unnamed/anonymous sources. At the very least, they should always be taken with a grain of salt. It's common sense.
He said it.
I know.
No, Jake Tapper, you don't know, because it is unproven. Now, Trump is neither a nuclear scientist or a geophysicist, so he would have no idea whether or not nuking a hurricane would actually stop one. And to be fair, it's never been tried. Axios says that according to an unnamed source, the president said something like the following: "They start forming off the coast of Africa. As they're moving across the Atlantic, we drop a bomb inside the eye of the hurricane and it disrupts it. Why can't we do that?" Again, he asked, why can't we do that? I mean, it's a fair question. And quite frankly, if in fact Trump did float the idea, who cares? Think about it. His goal was to stop hurricanes from reaching the coast of the United States. But yeah, he must really hate America.
So if this is the guy who said the problem with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports.
Not exactly. Biden is referring to President Trump's 2019 4th of July speech when he said this about the Revolutionary War.
Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Okay, so there were no airports, let alone airplanes, during the Revolutionary War. Trump ultimately blamed his gaffe on the rain knocking out his teleprompter and said that he knew the speech very well. Either way, it's a gaffe. And yes, it's amusing. But listen again to what Biden claimed the president said versus what he actually said.
The problem with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports.
So Biden can't even talk about Trump's mistake without making one himself, which is pretty typical for old Joe. And Biden has no right to talk about mistakes, because literally every single time he makes a public appearance, he gaffes.
This is my schedule. The back of the schedule is always a black box.
That's not a black box. That's a black border, but I digress.
Military COVID infected, 118,984. Military COVID deaths, 6,114.
As it turns out, Joe Biden is, well, he's wrong. I know you're shocked. According to the Military Times, as of September 3rd, a total of 7 U.S. service members have died from COVID-19, not 6,114. Joe read the abbreviation for Michigan, the state he was giving his speech, as the abbreviation for the word military for some reason. And you'd think that someone who's run for president 3 times would know what the abbreviation for Michigan is, but whatever. So for someone whose career has largely consisted of reading speeches, over the last 2 years, Joe has consistently blundered while reading words. Here's a couple recent ones.
He doesn't want to shed light. He wants to generate heat, and he's stoking violence in our cities. And what makes his wild claims and hopes, he now hopes we don't notice what he said or won't remember. And when he does follow through, or doesn't do when follow through, the exact opposite. He's hoping we just have poor memories. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives, when you think about it.
Now, I'm not saying that reading from a teleprompter and speaking in front of people is easy. People make mistakes. But it just so happens that Biden messes up more than, well, everyone.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I propose is it can be done.
Stop the Cold War future that we're talking about. We're talking about a peaceful Cold War. What are we talking about?
Oh man, I can't wait for another 4 to 8 years of that. So yeah, Joe Biden makes a lot of gaffes, but there's another issue. Back in May, Biden was having a conversation with Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf when this happened.
Anyway, but look, one of the things that that I think is really important is that we somehow put that back on. There's somehow that we're in a situation where we work together.
Whoops! This is supposed to be an off-the-cuff conversation, but instead, Biden is being fed his responses through a teleprompter. Then back in July, Biden had a virtual conversation with members of the Service Employees International Union where he was clearly reading a script from a teleprompter.
In this crisis, and always, we haven't done that. And fourth, you need premium pay. Congress has to pass a comprehensive premium pay plan that honors your heroism now, not yesterday. We needed yesterday. I unveiled a plan to strengthen our caring economy.
Then there was an instance where a supporter asked Biden a question, and then his staff fed him the answer.
And I would like to know, what will your administration do to help them give them that chance? Thank you.
Move it up here. You know, there used to be a basic bargain in this country. Workers shared in the wealth their work helped create.
Okay, it's one thing to read a prepared statement or an entire speech off a teleprompter, but using it to read answers or prepared responses is being dishonest to your audience, and President Trump took advantage of this to attack Biden.
They ask questions and he starts reading the teleprompter. He says, move the teleprompter a little bit closer, please. I don't know. I think if I did that, I'd be in big trouble. I think that would be the story of the year.
Man, that's the truth.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
Brett, we are not going to engage. This is straight from the Trump campaign's
but yeah,
talking
they're
points.
using it.
And what it does, Brett, is it's trying to distract the American people.
In other words, yes, he does. And of course, the campaign can't admit it because it would make Biden look weak. But if they deny it and the truth comes out, Biden will look like he was being deceptive. So what's the best response here? Just don't answer it.
They're using it. They talk about it every day. Can you say yes or no?
That's because they talk about it every day, Brett, because they don't have a coherent
Well, you have
strategy.
an answer. Yes or no?
Brett, they talk about it every day, and they are desperate to throw anything they can against the wall to try to distract from that fact.
I understand, but you can't answer the question.
So Brett Baer, one of the most fair and objective journalists in the business, asked a legitimate question, one that no other network is bothering to ask, I might add. And TJ Ducklow's response is gross.
Brett, I am not going to allow the Trump campaign to funnel their questions through Fox News and get me to respond to that.
And you can find that on page 15 of the Democrats' playbook. When all else fails, accuse the Trump campaign of collusion. Brilliant. Anyway, Joe Biden isn't the only one with teleprompter issues. So does his running mate, Kamala Harris.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the President of the United States.
Whoops! Kamala Harris just said the quiet part out loud. Are you scared yet? Anyway, that's it for now. Pick up a limited edition Asteroid 2020 t-shirt while you still can, because even a space rock is a better candidate than Joe Biden. Follow me on Twitter and Parler at Don't Walk Run, and don't forget to hit that like button and be sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. As always, I hope to see you next time.